Hi, this is Greg with Threshold Media Productions, and I've started a podcast. Hooray! You can find it at nerdsplainit.com. It's a podcast about comic books, which is pretty awesome. Three guys and one girl, for now. So let's set the scene. So we have two people in our podcast that are located locally here, and then we have two more located out of state. And during the setup process, we've run into some issues in regards to Skype. Um, I've done a lot of research online on Google and Google searching and YouTube, and this video is probably the closest to my issue. Actually, it's exactly the issue that I've been having. I've came up with a solution to this issue, but there are two caveats. One being this solution is only for Mac users. So if you are on a PC and you're looking for the same answer that I'm about to explain, there's going to be some other alternatives that you might have to look into. I'm not sure what those are, so that's just a full disclaimer. The second one is the programs that I'm about to show you are not free. They are a paid program. But I know that may be a turnoff for you, but I guarantee you, if you're having the same issues that I've been having, this is definitely something you should look into. So I found this channel from Fiji Morgan, and he goes, I am trying to use two USB microphones at the same time with Skype via Aggregate Device. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so in my research, I've been looking into what aggregate devices are, and it seems as if it's not working, but it is working. So essentially what we're trying to do is I have two USB microphones. This one, which is the Shure MV51, and to my right here, just out of view, I have the Blue Yeti. Now, for the purpose of this tutorial, just know that this microphone, you won't be able to hear, well, will not be able to hear through this recording, but you will be able to hear it through playback with Skype when we get to that portion of the video. So just keep that in mind. Let's put this out of the way. Okay, so aggregate device, what is that? So on your Mac, if you hit Command Spacebar and just type in MIDI, what aggregate device is pretty much an input device on your computer that your computer sees as a microphone or output device. So for example, when you plug in a microphone like the Shure MV51, here in my settings, you'll see that it shows up here. Same thing for my Yeti. What the aggregate device is if you hit add, you can create an aggregate device. It's almost as if you're creating another microphone on your computer that your computer recognizes that when you go into your settings on Skype, you can actually select that aggregate device and use that. But the issue is when you plug in your two microphones like I have here. So if I mute my MV51, okay, so what you just saw there was whenever this light is blinking, this mic is muted. So that's just that. You can see that I can select both microphones and they're both working. You can see the lines moving. So in the aggregate device, if I were to add two ends, I can select the Shure MV51, and I can also select the Yeti, and the one you want to look for is the one that says input. So this is the one that I want. Here's where the problem lies. All right, so you've set up your aggregate device. If you go into Skype, I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to do something later. And if you use Skype, you'll understand what this is when you're selecting your microphones. So if I were to go into Skype and select this aggregate device, let's say I name it dual mic for Skype and select that as my input microphone. The issue that we run into is Skype doesn't recognize the second microphone. It only recognizes one because it prioritizes one microphone. I know this because it got to a point where I was frustrated and ended up contacting technical support for Skype, and this is what I got. Okay, I understand that you wish for Skype both of your microphones, whatever. However, the setting of Skype can only prioritize one mic, and using a third-party application is difficult, or I'm sorry, it's different. Basically, Skype cannot detect or use third-party applications. You may use one, but cannot guarantee that it will work. So, essentially, what this guy and what I was having issues with was Skype recognizing the second microphone so that the person that we're talking to can hear out of both mics. So in our case, for our podcast, we have, like I said before, two hosts here. We have one microphone here, Skype microphone for the second host, going into Skype, communicating with the two other hosts out of state. Well, I found a solution. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this aggregate device and just completely close out of audio media setup. So essentially, I'm going to create another aggregate device, but not using the built-in Apple aggregate device because it's kind of limited. So let's close out of this. The two programs I'm going to be referring to is by a company called Rogue Amoeba, and this is amazing. It saved me so much trouble after a week of researching, obviously. Well, not for you, but anyway. So Audio Loopback, what this is pretty much a more advanced way of creating aggregate devices and outputs. Audio Hijack is a program that you can use for recording. I'm also going to show you how to record through not only Audio Hijack, but also through, say, a program like Logic Pro and maybe GarageBand if I get there. It depends on how long this video goes. But I'll definitely show you how to record through Audio Hijack and Logic Pro. So let's start off by creating the aggregate device, right? So in Loopback, once you have it installed, sorry, the cost for this is for Loopback is $99, and for Audio Hijack, I believe is $59, so $60. But they do have a bundle for $130. Now, potentially, depending on your setup, you may only need Loopback. You may not need Audio Hijack if you prefer to edit inside of Logic Pro. But Loopback is definitely a program that you will need, which is going to be $100. So if that's going to break bank, or if it's something that you can't really spend that kind of money right now, just keep in mind Loopback in the back of your head, because this is amazing. You'll see why. So within Loopback, what you want to do is under the devices, down here, you want to select the plus. And what this is you're able to add your sources. So again, since I have two microphones, I'm going to add my Shure MV51. And then I'm also going to add my Yeti stereo microphone. The channel mapping, you want to go to manual. So for those of you that aren't really audiophiles or don't really understand what channels and all this information is, it's important here now that you understand it. So the way that I think of it is, think of my person or your person, yourself, as a track. So I'm one track with two channels, left ear, right ear. So that's an easier way to think about it if this part doesn't make sense. Again, I am a track with two channels, left ear, right ear. Okay. The reason why this is important is because, again, the aggregate device on Apple's part, it splits them into two tracks. Since Skype only prioritizes one track, essentially, what this Loopback program allows you to do is to bundle your microphones into one track. So how I would set this up is, say, left and right. I would take my Shure left, add it to the left, take my Yeti left, add it to the left, take my Shure right, add it to the right, Yeti to the right, add it to the right. So what this does essentially is it's kind of tricking the system. So this is one track with both microphones left and right. So what this does is when I select, oh, actually, let's rename this to Skype dual mic. So whenever I go into Skype, I can select this microphone and Skype would then recognize both microphones. But this tutorial does not end here. You'll see why here in a second. It's important for, especially when doing podcasting, to be able to have your audio into separate channels so that when you're editing, you can have your audio split. So if two people are talking at the same time, they can have their own track instead of it being fused into one like this is right now. So this is horrible for recording because both tracks are mixed together. Okay, so what you would want to do is create a new aggregate device, right? And what this would be is, we'll label this, we'll do it for Logic Pro, right? So Apple Logic Pro mics. Okay, and we'll go to manual. Okay, and then what you want to do is, instead of using 1 and 2, you want to actually create 3 and 4 because it's going to be one mic for one person, 5 and 6 for the second person. So we're going to ignore this one because these channel 1 and 2 are the fused one for Skype. 3 and 4 is going to be one person. So let's go ahead and add a source. So mic 1 and mic 2. And we're going to add my mic as the left and right. Oops. Wait till the plus pops up. And then the Yeti, 5 and 6. With this one actually on the left. So move that there. And delete this. And the right. Okay. So now we have one person, two person, remember, left and right, left and right. So these are going to be the channels that you're going to be looking at for when you go into Logic. So first off, let's test off the dual mic for Skype. Okay, so if we travel over to Skype and let's do a test call. But before we do it, let's go ahead and select that aggregate device. So if we go to audio and video settings and we change our microphone to, do we name it? Let's make sure we named it. Skype dual mics. So let's go here. If it doesn't show up, what you can do is you might have to actually close out Skype. Sorry about that. All right, so that's me. Alrighty. So we'll have to close out of Skype and reopen it, and then go to audio and video settings. And then Skype dual mic will show up then. So this is the one with dual tracks. So, okay, here's the fun part. Remember how I told you that this is muted when this is blinking? Okay, so I have to do this really, really fast because the voice call is pretty quick. So I'll speak into this microphone and then I will mute it. And then I'll speak into this microphone and mute it to show you that you can use both tracks, or I'm sorry, both microphones on the output so that your Skype caller can hear both mics. Okay, so first, second. Let's do this.
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing service. After the beep, please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
This is the Shure MV microphone. This is the Shure NV microphone. This is the Blue Yeti microphone.
If you are able to hear your own voice, then you have configured Skype correctly.
Pretty awesome, right? All right, so that's pretty awesome. If you want to stop there, you can, but I'll show you what these configurations does. Okay, so the dual microphone is just for the Skype outbound, right? But what about recording? So what you want to do is under the Logix Pro, remember how we had the microphone here for person 1 and person 2? You actually want to add 7 and 8 for Skype. So this will also record a program, which is pretty awesome. So for the source, let's go ahead and add Skype, which is comes with left and right. So for 7 and 8, you go left, right. Oh, it's kind of finicky. Right. Okay, so person 1, person 2, Skype, technically person 3, but whatever. So let's go ahead and open up Logic Pro. You want to make sure that your DAW, which is your digital audio workstation, I believe that's the W. You want to make sure that it's closed before you do all of this, because it'll recognize the new inputs once it opens freshly. Okay, so preferences. We want to go to audio, first of all. And instead of built-in out, we want to make sure we put Logic Pro mics. So apply changes. Now let's go to new recording and keep 1 and 2 to get, by default, it's 1 and 2, 1 and 2 for input and output. So just say create and then duplicate twice. And this one's going to be MV51. This one's going to be Blue Yeti. And then this one's going to be Skype. Skype. All right. If I can spell that right. All right. So again, we want to make sure that the channels for the MV51, which is the mic I'm speaking on right now, is set to 3 and 4. So we go to input select 3 and 4, and then select the Blue Yeti, and that's going to be 5 and 6 because left ear, right ear, 5 and 6, and then Skype is going to be 7 and 8. So input 7 and 8, and we want to go ahead and arm all of these. So if I'm speaking into the Blue Yeti, if I'm speaking into the MV51, you can see the meter moving up. So if I mute it, if I go to the Blue Yeti, you can see that moving. I'll mute that. And the Skype, you don't see anything right now because Skype isn't playing right now. So what I'll do is I will go to Skype. Okay. And say these are all armed. So we want to hit the record for all of them. Or I'm sorry, the R for all of them. I think that's done for record. I'm going to hit record. And then I'm coming here. And again, make sure that my audio settings is set to Skype dual mic. And then I will call.
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing service. After the beep, please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
Oh, test, test, test. Test, test, test. Oh, test, test, test. Test, test, test. I'll go ahead and end the call there. All right, and stop recording. And then you can see here, each track is on their own channel. Everything's recorded, which is awesome. So that's it for Logic Pro X, and also GarageBand is the same way. Just follow these steps. So if you're interested in Audio Hijack, which is pretty awesome, what you'll do is once you open this up, I'll have this window here to create a new session. What I would do is just create a new blank session, and you'll end up with this right here. Close out of that. Okay. So this is pretty much a program that you can route, or you can build your audio routing. So what I would do is create an input device, which will be my microphone. And then you can create another input device. You can change this by clicking on it. And this will be the second microphone. And then you can create an application device. So you can select the program that you want the program to record. So we'll say it's Skype. And so that everything is in sync, you want to select advanced, and you want to include audio input. I usually uncheck that, and then make sure that fill playback gaps with silence is checked on. So what this means is once you hit record, all of these record at the same time. If you don't have that selected, when you hit record, this won't record until it recognizes sound from Skype. So timing may be off if you don't select fill gaps with empty space or whatever that said before. From here, you want to link this to a recorder. So if I select the recorder for this one, select the recorder for this one, and select recorder for this one. So that way, all of these will have their individual tracks. So if I select this, you can name this, say, person 1. And this will be person, oops, goodness gracious. This will be person 2. Oops, turn off my mouse. Okay, and then this one would be person 3. Nope, sorry, this will be Skype actually. If I can type Skype, goodness. All right. In terms of the quality, I usually do uncompressed AIFF, and then I would do advanced settings, and I would make the type 24-bit. And if you want to make that like a preset, you can. Preset, oops, select preset. And then for the last one, let's do the preset. So what ends up happening now is you don't see anything happening, but as soon as I hit record, this is going to go into the audio hijack folder that it creates. So you'll notice it's receiving a feed if you see like an orange wavelength. So if I hit record now, you can see that I'm talking into the MV51. If I mute it, I'm going to stop the recording. And then Skype will be blank, but it's still recording with dead space. But once you call your conference, it'll start recording the audio as well. But what's also about this is it saves each individual track into its own file. So then you can then take these into your DAW, i.e. Logic or GarageBand or Audacity or whatever have you, and record it that way, and edit it individually. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do your recording, but the biggest deal is using 2 microphones into Skype. This is the best way that I found that you could do it. If there's other options out there, I'm not sure what it is. This is mainly for podcasting, but you can do it for gaming as well. So yeah. Again, this is Greg with Threshold Media Productions, and I am out. Don't forget, Nerdsplainit. Nerdsplainit.com is an awesome podcast. Go check it out. Please go check it out. I'm not desperate, but please go check it out. Bye.